Welcome back, Paul Catalina and Pierre Nugent. And let's talk some Nico, Pierre. I was very, very curious to hear your thoughts on it, just in general, because here we have our first holdout in the history of college football. And collective bargaining can solve this. And for all those people say they hold out in the NFL, yeah, but there's like punishment for it. Like you get fined for holding out when you're under contract. And then they decide to maybe waive the fines or not, or, you can forfeit salary if you sit out games. I mean, Joey Galloway sat out games back in the day. I'm trying to think, there was an offensive lineman, I think Trent Williams. He sat out a whole year for Washington.
Yeah, he did.
Trent Williams sat out a whole year, forfeited his whole salary because he said, I'm not working for Dan Snyder anymore. I don't care. Their doctors are quacks. I don't want anything to do with them. And I'm not going to be here anymore. He sat out the whole year, and then eventually they traded him with the 49ers, where he's gets better as he gets older. It's wild. But so there's all that. But Nico and his helicopter dad, then they tried to besmirch the good name of Pete Nakos, who will be on our show tomorrow, actually. And say this is all lies, and it wasn't lies at all. Like, they were shopping him around. Dan Lanning, blew up their spot and called Josh Heupel and said, like, hey, buddy, Nico's dad's shopping around to us, which tells you how they feel also about their quarterback, Dante Moore. That Dan Lanning, and plus, of course, Dan Lanning's also not a guy who's going to be like, hey, I've got this quarterback for you. He might be better. Remember, you recruited him before. He's going to be like, nah, no. I'm not going to be a puppet in your little game. No. I'm not going to do that. So he's a man of pretty strong convictions. And so Nico's gone. Josh Heupel, I mean, and they kind of made the decision at the same time, but like, look, we're not going to play this game. We can't. The timing is terrible. Skipping practice without telling anybody is terrible. All those things. We can't have that here. Nobody's above the team. Josh Heupel did the right thing. Now, it'll pay off in the cinematic Hollywood sense of, the coach to the ground and did the right thing. But, on the field, it may hurt him.
Yeah,
it may hurt him. It may hurt him. Integrity integrity has a cost, just like everything. And this might be the cost of it. And, but your thoughts first on the situation, and then we'll get into the two scenarios, because we don't know where he's going to go yet. And it's a weird situation given how this went down, because I don't think players will begrudge him going for more money. I think they'll begrudge him going for more money the way he went for more money, because there's ways to do it. And then also, like, how do you deal? This is good. Like, is this good for his NFL career? I mean, honestly, I think the best team for his NFL career that he could wind up with, the best two teams are not UNC and UCLA. It's probably Tech and Tulane. The lesser known of those two schools, you would say. I'm not knocking Tech guys. I'm just saying that, like, people know UCLA and North Carolina and Bill Belichick more, but I think for his NFL future, like, Tech or Tulane would be better, and Tulane better because John Summeralls is a really good coach. And even then, I don't know how, like, he's not going to be playing with the same kind of talent he would be.
But on the Tech situation, I saw over the weekend where Cody Campbell came out and said, like, we are not interested. Yeah. We are riding with Baron Morton. Yeah. So I don't know. I mean, that one. Like, here's the thing. But I know he's going to say that. He's going to have to say that.
Yeah, I mean, like, they don't know. Like, we're riding with Baron Morton, but when Nico gives them a deal they want, do they move on? And
I wouldn't personally.
By the way, hey, can you kick the air down? Like, let's get off this smoky temperature here. We got to get some air moving. It's almost summertime in Texas.
Yes, my AC went out yesterday. I know.
It's oh dear God, it's stuffy. It's stuffy in this room. So, but Pierre, your thoughts just on how Nico and his father handled the situation, which I would say is not the best way.
Well, first and foremost, I will say that Nico is not without fault in this situation. However, I think we still need to remember that these are, while they are technically, by the letter of the law, adult men, they're still in their own minds, for the better or worse, they're still kids. So I still tend to blame the adults in the room. The adults in the room, in my opinion, get the first blame, and that's Nico's father. And if you're a young athlete right now, and I know that managing your finances is not high on your priority list, especially when you're a young kid, and you could command in the neighborhood of $2 and $2.5 million for no matter which school you play for. Managing your finances is not at the top of your list. With that being said, I would say to these kids right now, never let somebody else manage your money. Don't let them manage it. You need to be the person that takes control and be in charge of your own brand and your own product. Because when you let somebody else take the reins of that, it could end up badly for you. And I think that's part of the reason why things are ending badly here for Nico, because his father, I think, has overplayed his hand dramatically and could have potentially, I'm not saying he's going to be on a team next year. Whose team, I don't know. But he could have potentially ruined his kid's college career and therefore perhaps ruined his chances at a pro prospect, which, funny enough, if, and I don't know the family dynamic over there, I'm not going to pretend like I do. But if you're going to parade your son around like this and try to cut deals and try to make it seem like he is the number one quarterback prospect in the transfer portal. In all of America, then that would lead me to believe that you're looking at him like your meal ticket at the next level in him being a potential first-round draft pick. So the way they've gone about this, the family, I would say, has just been nothing short of a disaster. And like I said, I'm going to use the phrase again. I think they have absolutely overplayed their hand in terms of how good he is and where he really stacks up in the market. And they went to the market and they found out, hey, we could probably get $4-5 million from a school like Oregon. They're going to want us. Why wouldn't they want us? But lo and behold, they've gone and found out that they have no leverage whatsoever in this situation. Now they find themselves without a home. So it's a really bizarre situation. And I don't know. Perhaps this is the first of many situations we see. Again, like you said, it's the first time we've seen a holdout situation. I can't imagine it's going to be the last in the world of NIL. But Nico and his camp have absolutely overplayed their hand here. And I think this is a hard lesson that he's going to have to learn.
All right. Do you want some betting odds from Bet Online?
I always do.
Bet Online. You want some betting odds on this? 2-1 UCLA.
Okay.
For his next team. 5-2 North Carolina.
Okay.
3-1 USC. 5-1 Tech.
Okay.
That's Texas Tech.
Right.
Here we just call them Tech.
Yeah.
If you're in Louisiana going, hey, we have one too. I know. Terry Bradshaw went there. He saved some people on a plane the other day. Did you hear about that? Like he helped get the door. Like they couldn't get the door open on the runway, and they had some people having like a health problem. He was in first class. And 77-year-old Terry Bradshaw, the biggest and strongest guy on the plane, just muscled that door right open.
That guy, Terry.
Yeah.
Still got it.
It's my naked room.
Yeah.
So I always think of Terry Bradshaw. It's my naked room. Colorado is 6-1. That's not going to happen. They've got Caden Salter and Juju Lewis, who their quarterback budget's already spent up. Yeah. Right? Like they're spending 7 figures on 2 guys there for sure. One for 1 year and one for hopefully a long time in Juju Lewis. Arizona State, not going to happen. They have Sam Levitt. He's one of the best quarterbacks in the country. They don't need to get in the Nico business. Plus, Kenny Dillingham's the best quarterback coach in the country. Now, while that would be really a smart thing to do if Sam Levitt wasn't in the picture at Arizona State for Nico Iamaleava, he's not going to Arizona State. Notre Dame, no. Although CJ Carr did get hurt, I think in the spring game the other day a little bit, so maybe that changes their tune. But they're not gonna pay $4 million. So
I'll admit the first school and I heard about the other schools, but the school that came to mind when I thought that made me go, it was Notre Dame.
Yeah,
100%. That might not be a bad fit there in the right situation. That could be a very interesting fit.
Yeah. Maryland at 11-1. And then I know you're not a serious person at all. No offense to Mike Loxley in that program, but what are you doing? Like, is it going to make you more like make you more money? It's not going to make you more brand recognizable. It's not going to necessarily get you better for the NFL. Like, you're not going to win the Big Ten at Maryland,
Speaking of the UFL, Mike Loxley's son, wide receiver for the Memphis Showboats.
Yeah. Kyle Loxley. Yeah. Kyle Loxley. Yeah. Oregon at 12-1. A bet online. I may have to disagree with you here. Considering either that's the long con of all long cons by Dan Lanning, or it's not going to happen. Cal at 16-1 and Syracuse at 20-1. Who right now I believe their quarterback would be Ricky Collins.
He hit because their other one hit the portal this morning.
Yeah, so I guess Ricky Collins has won that job. Excuse me. Pierre, UCLA feels very real to me because they're already in business with the Iamaleava family. So if you have the money and you're one of these teams, how do you, and Garrett, I want you to chime in on this, how do you set up the locker room so that you protect against what is going to be maybe a difficult situation of Nico coming in? And, in the case of Texas Tech, it would be supplanting a quarterback that's been there for now. This is his fourth year there. And sending him out, who the team, I would assume, I've never heard anything bad about Baron Morton. He's just gets hurt a lot. He gets hurt a lot, and his ceiling's not as high as Nico's is. Sure. But we don't even know what really is what's going on with Nico up here too. But it's a difficult situation. I want to know how you would handle it, bringing him in, knowing the attention on this situation that has gotten all over the country.
Well, first and foremost, I think you would have to have you would have to know that your locker room is really strong to the core. Understanding the locker room, a locker room that is built on competition, knowing that your job is never safe at any point, at any time. And if your players have bought into that notion and they have to earn every minute of every spot that they have, I think you can bring them into that situation. I think a lot of teams or players would be understanding of that. Furthermore, Paul, when we're talking about some of these teams, you had asked earlier, what does this look like perhaps for Nico's future and what could be the best situation for him potentially? And that's where I wonder, Texas Tech feels like the spot to me where you could go to a Big 12 school. Texas Tech is a school that's widely respected in the conference. And that's a team where you could go to a perfect situation like Texas Tech. I'm not going to call it fully perfect, but a perfect situation in the sense that it's a mid to upper tier program in the conference. It's no nationwide. And you could be the guy that elevates that program from C, B to A. You could be the difference in elevating a Texas Tech squad and putting them in a playoff. And that would absolutely show on your resume when you want to go to the NFL. Scouts would be like, look what I was able to do with this program, and my level of play just elevated this team. Think about what I can do for your franchise moving forward. I can carry that same kind of confidence and talent into the pros and elevate your franchise. So to me, Texas Tech, if you're thinking about it from what could benefit Nico best and perhaps the best marriage in terms of elevation of program and redemption for Nico, Texas Tech seems like a really good spot for both of those storylines.
Yeah, Garrett, I think, look, if you, and especially if you take all the fanfare out of this, I'm telling you, of those four teams I mentioned, the best roster by a long shot would be Texas Tech. And if they're not in this, I think that's bad for him NFL-wise. I don't think Deshaun Foster stepped into a weird situation last year, obviously with Chip Kelly leaving late. He gets the job. I don't know what kind of head coach Deshaun Foster is going to be because he's really only had one full off season to do this. But if Nico goes there, they'll be better on offense. I still just don't think they have the weapons. I think the best place he could go that has even been rumored, even if it's not true, would be a place like Tech.
If he went to, I don't see him going to Tech. I don't see it happening. And if I was somebody, I personally would not bring him into my program because I wouldn't want to cause the friction in the first place. But if I had to do it, more than likely, I'm saying he's going to UCLA. It makes sense. He goes back to the West Coast. You mentioned his brother's coming in. Obviously, winning isn't a big thing here. You're in the Big Ten, which, that's thrown around with the SEC is like a conference you want to play in because of the money and everything, not because of what they can actually contribute onto the field, because they're not that type of a brand. But to me, overall, that would make the most sense. And if he did that, I think you could tell Dante Moore, hey, you're young. You can go and work behind somebody who has had experience in the SEC before, while it was not necessarily the best numbers put up, but you can still learn something from Nico. Your skill set is similar. And then also, I don't think they have the players out there or the culture out there to really cause any friction. Like, you bring him in, where if you threw him in Texas Tech, there's a lot of money going around there. A lot of guys coming in. I just think that it would be an easier transition for him to go into UCLA. And honestly, I think that's where he's going to go. I don't know how you can guard from protecting your locker room. You're going to have egos. You're going to have people in there who are going to get upset by the situation. We've seen that. We've heard that from situations at Baylor the past few years with things that have gone down. I don't think that you could do anything to seriously block out anybody getting upset. But I think ideally, if I'm a program looking at Nico going there, it's going to be UCLA.
Yeah, I think it's probably going to be UCLA. I thought it might be USC, it might be desperate time. It would not shock me to see it be USC. And then you've got the Iamaleava brothers there in LA across town. That's a fun story. But his brother is not going to start this year.
No.
Which is why the NFL is his mother brother even be next year. Is he already there?
No, I think he's coming in this year.
So yeah, he's not going to start. So and look, and here's the deal. If he just said, hey, I've got a great opportunity to go play with my brother, that's what I want. Tennessee didn't want him. UCLA did. I think there'd be people being like, all right, well, that's whatever, but I mean, Tua and Tailua did it. But whatever, go ahead. But even still, I can't see this being this is only good for making more money. And he was already making $2.5 million.
Yeah.
So he's making $2.5 million in the SEC at a program that's going to contend for the conference title and the playoff again this year, more than likely. And it's only going to be for that $1 figure, because there's really nowhere else you can go, because if you're a contender going into this year, you've already got a quarterback.
Yeah, and that really was my next question too. Where does the price, if you're Nico's father, what price are you willing to accept? Are you not budging off the numbers that you're trying to get for your son? We've already mentioned that he can't go to another SEC program, so that probably is going to hamper some things, because there's not going to be a lot of schools out there that can compete with the dollars that an SEC program would throw at your son. So my question to Nico's dad would be, what's your wiggle room, if there's any, and what is the acceptable floor for your son when it comes to a price? Is it 2? Is it 2.5? What? That's my question. What's the thought process here? What is the next step in terms of trying to get Nico his money? That's my question.
Yeah. If it's, and I don't think you should ever do anything just for money. You shouldn't. I mean, I know that sometimes you got to be like, look, if I'm guaranteed $5 million up front and an out, then maybe I can do something just for money and I'd have $5 million. Sure. But if I'm $5 million, but there's no guaranteed out, and how I'm going to look on the back end and I might be miserable and ruin my life, then, I might have to pass up $5 million. It's tough. Nobody's ever offered me that kind of money for anything, so I don't know how I would react and where my brain would be.
Right.
And then afterwards, when I would do the story, I took the money. I mean, I'm, doing this interview from my my ski chalet, but still, I'm not a happy person. Money can't buy happiness, kind of a thing. So yeah, I just don't. I think this is not going to end how Nico wants it. No. I mean, it's not going to end how they want it. And being on that Tennessee team with Josh Heupel, who's an excellent offensive coach, and Joey Also, who's an excellent developer. They're both excellent developers of quarterbacks. The proof's in the pudding. Look, Joe Milton was the talk of it. The Cowboys traded for him. There were other teams that wanted to potentially, maybe a Cowboys traded for him to be their backup or one of their backups. Other teams were well, maybe this is better than some of the quarterbacks in the draft this year, and we'll trade for Joe Milton and make him, potentially our starter. That's how much they liked him. Hendon Hooker was a kind of a journeyman transfer and got Tennessee back in the big scene. So the proof's of the pudding. Josh Heupel, in my opinion, not the best developer of quarterbacks. Like I told you, that's Kenny Dillingham at Arizona State right now. But I think he's in the top 5 of developers of quarterbacks. And, wherever he's going to go, more than likely, unless it's a team that's a contender, doesn't have one of those guys I think Tech would be a great situation for him, but I'm getting more and more with Garrett where I just don't think it's going to happen.
Yeah,
I think they're already probably especially this late in spring, they're pretty well established into what they're doing, and they had a plan for Baron Morton. They didn't push him a lot. Will Hammond played a lot of the spring, practiced a lot. But he had like a minor procedure, didn't he, Garrett?
He cleaned up some stuff. It's nothing major.
So it's nothing major, but just like lingering things that he've been playing through. So,
and also, I'm not bringing in Nico if I got Will Hammond sitting there.
Yeah,
like I'm not doing that because that's going to disrupt him, and then you've already banking and put money into Hammond.
You're starting a chain.
Things up.
Yeah. So
I'm a little surprised. I'm a little surprised that more, and I guess I shouldn't be surprised. I know some of the upper echelon teams in the Big Ten Conference, like Penn State, I don't think would be an option, thinking off the top of my head. But would a team like Wisconsin, I'm surprised, a team that is in desperate need of great quarterback play. Mm-hmm. I'm not surprised those kind of schools, especially in the Big Ten, aren't getting thrown around. Maybe some of those mid to upper tier programs in the Big Ten haven't really been thrown around. I know UCLA. UCLA right now getting in there. They're not going to be able to compete if they get Nico. I'm sure that they could compete to some level, but they just haven't been able to compete, and I'm not sure how they're going to compete now that they're in the Big Ten. You're going to have to make a big splash like this.
Yeah. It's and it's a cautionary tale, and it just goes back. We say this every day on the show, Pierre. Collective bargaining solves all of this. It solves it all. And like the NCAA is just a bunch of anti-vaxxers right now. Like, hey, there's a shot you can take. I mean, it's like the shingle shot. Like, you won't get shingles. Yeah. You won't get it, but it hurts like a bitch.
Yeah.
And that's what it's going to be. It's one of those shots that it's going to hurt. You're going to be sore all day. You're not going to like it, but you need to get it so you don't get the disease. Yeah. And they're like, I want to do my own research. You're like, no, the research has been done. Peer studies, all of that. Like, just because in 2006, a girl that you like to stroke it to in 1994 told you that she thinks vaccines cause autism, does not mean that this woman, who, again, not a doctor, never did any research at all in the field herself, was not like testing vaccines in a lab with a lab coat on. The only time she's had a lab coat on is when it was opened up and you could see everything because Hugh Hefner told her that was a good idea. Yeah. That's it. So the NCAA is the same thing right now. They're like, there's got to be another way to get rid of this. And they're like, well, I mean, there's one way. It's been very successful, throughout the last 140 years of business existence in this country. It's collective bargaining. Like, I don't know, man. Sounds fishy. Sounds like junk science. Like, nope, not junk science. Works. Very proven to work,
I mean, I'm with you though. Like you said it earlier, I have a nagging feeling, and I feel bad that things are not going to end well for Nico. He gets on a team that just maybe didn't make sense, and maybe it was a last resort. This is why I said earlier what I said earlier in the show in terms of you need to be very aware of the people around you who manage you as an athlete and you as a brand, because most of these people will not have your best interest at heart. They look at you as a meal ticket. They look at you as commission. You need to find a way to step up. And I know that we expect less and less of the youth of America today, but if you're a Division I college athlete, I mean, even if you're Division II, whatever, you need to step up and start understanding the business side of what you're getting into, because if you don't understand it, you're going to come across somebody who does fully understand it, try to convince you to do something and take advantage of you. You need to now step up and be the president and CEO of your own enterprise and not let somebody else do it.
Yeah, I mean, you really do. I think that this is like, you can go to your, like, you can go to your dad and ask him for advice. Like,
you would hope.
Hey, Dad, what do you think? And then, I know what my dad would have done. And I don't know your dad, but I know enough about him to know that he would be like, all right, well, here's what my opinion is. But when you leave this room, this is on you. I don't get to make this decision for you.
Yeah.
You go make the decision. And what I would do is I would hire people who have my best interest at heart.
No doubt.
And the best agents, and I know I've gotten to know in this business quite a few. I know you probably know some as well.
Yeah.
And I've met some ones that you're like, this guy is shady as shit.
Yep.
Like I would not let my kid anywhere near them. And then I've met people that are legit. Like we know Lee Steinberg really well. I mean, he's the inspiration for Jerry Maguire.
Right. Yeah.
The best agent are people like Lee Steinberg, like Drew Pittman, who's down here, who can look at an athlete in the eye and say, look, I know that this seems better, but it's not. Like we're here for your best interest. Yes, it might be a little bit less, but it'll be better in the long term. And you can say that to them, as opposed to the ones that are like, oh, we're going to go more money. That's better. More. Okay. Right. Is it better? Like, this is for Nico Iamaleava. You are a guy with huge NFL potential. You are draft eligible this year, coming out in 2026. Will he be in the draft this year? That remains to be seen, but he is draft eligible. So this is not just about the $4 million you can make this year. This is about the $400 million you could make if you make the right decisions in your professional future.
No doubt about it.
Yeah. So like you're taking a big risk for, yes, the $4 million is a lot of money, right? But you're taking, what is 1/100th of what you could be worth in the long term as opposed to it. I think it's a huge risk and a big mistake. Like I really do, because being at Tennessee with that program's way better than what your options are right now. And if you wanted different options, you should have done that in the spring. You're in the winter. Like you should have been at your place right now, wherever that is. You should have been there now, and it shouldn't have been this way.
And I know it's hard to talk to 18, 19, 20-year-old kids when you flash $2, $3, $4 million in their face right away. And maybe there are some that didn't come from means. And when they see $2, $3, $4 million flash in front of their face, they're going to be like, are you crazy? I'm absolutely going to take this no matter where I can get it. I don't care about the future. I need to take this right now. And they don't think about long-term potential. So I understand that there's, the human emotion and the human condition involved in these conversations that are tough to navigate sometimes. But yeah, you're right. You have to have people who have your best interest at heart and get you to see the big picture. That's what people are missing, the big picture. If you're an athlete that's good enough to be a first-round draft pick in the NFL, especially a quarterback, there is a much bigger picture at stake here if you don't think this through. And if you don't think it through, you're going to blow it. You're going to blow it.
Yeah. Absolutely. Well, Pierre, I hope you had a wonderful weekend, even though you were working. And we're probably not going to see you as much in the next few weeks.
You might. I think you might. I might. We'll see. I'm going to try to make it to Los Angeles for Game 2 between the Lakers and the Timberwolves, but that's to be determined. I'll keep you posted on that. But I do want to let everybody know out there, even though most people are watching in Texas, that we have the Minnesota Twins on our air every Tuesday night for home games now on Fox 9. Big win for us. So tune in to Fox 9 to see your Twins baseball every Tuesday night.
That's good. That local look. I think it's great for local rights. Are you part of those broadcasts?
I will be in the future. Yeah, I won't be part of tomorrow night's game, but I will be in the future. Yes.
Oh, Pierre, I'm so happy for you, man.
Yeah, we're excited.
That's look, getting to do a Major League Baseball game.
Yeah.
Just what will you be like in the dugout? Will you be
that part? I'm not 100% sure of yet. I think they're still keeping the same broadcast team, but we are going to be doing pregame show for sure. Okay. So I will be part of a pregame show.
If you get to be the guy who walks around the stadium, I think that would be the best job.
Oh, great job.
Jim Knox did it for years to the Rangers. I'm not sure if he still does because I don't like the TV here. Same thing with the Twins.
Yeah.
Diamond Sports Group wrecked everything, right?
Yes,
Yeah. So, but Jim Knox, I get to know him a little bit. He had the most fun job. Like you just go around and be like, hey, look at all these kids from the middle school here. Let's get their crazy teacher who's dressed funny up here, and let's do that. Like, oh, look, these guys are eating the boomstick. Let's eat a boomstick with them. That's the job I think I want for you.
Terrific job. I would have so much fun doing that too. Like, I would have fun interacting with the fans. Like,
I would love to see just Pierre like interviewing somebody. Oh, by the way, have you completed your assignment yet?
I have not completed my assignment, and that tomorrow would actually I'm in the anchor chair tomorrow night, so tomorrow night would be a good the Penske file assignment.
Yeah, you're not Penske material.
Got it.
Is your line? You're not Penske material.
Feel free to text me about that tomorrow too.
Okay, I will. You're not Penske material.
Got it.
Okay,
got it.
Good
deal.
Do that. All right. Hopefully next week we have Pierre saying you're not Penske material on the show.